And part 2, Urban Hippie podcast with my boy Ed, which is weird for me to say, cause that's E over there to me.
Yep.
But yeah, man, glad you could do this, man. And I haven't said it yet, but every podcast I take a moment and I say, man, it's a beautiful thing that we can be here, man, in this setting. At some point here, our paths have crossed in the universe, and we can enjoy this beautiful Edmonds sunset down here, man. If you haven't been down to Edmonds here on the ferry, the little bowl we call it down here, man, you should definitely come check it out because it's beautiful. We got some nice little beaches, little dog park down here, nice little restaurants. It'll be the new Ballard in 10 to 15 years. but yeah, man, I think just like yesterday, we had my boy Corey on here, and we did like 2.5 hours, but he dropped some gems for us. And I think anytime you touch the herbal, your ideas get a little better. I had a couple one-liners yesterday, man. I think honestly, I think I think your work speaks for itself, right? And I think what you've done is dope. And at the end of the day, it's for a good cause. I mean, it is helping a lot of kids. And one, the first episode we did was with my 3 boys. I can't say where they're firefighters, but they're firefighters. My boy was like, yeah, I mean, I remember same thing I asked you. I was like, anything we can't talk about other than the obvious. Yeah. And then it was like, he was like, yeah, you just can't say like where we work or, what department we are. Cause once we say what department we are, then we're on the record. Got it. And it was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, no, we try and keep it PC in here. So I appreciate you kind of putting up with us. Absolutely. But yeah, man, no, it's great for you to be here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Again, man, we're just enjoying the sunset, man. We had to take a little break, and I think that just goes for life too, man. No one to take a break and appreciate the beautiful things and the small things in life. It's not every day you get to fucking get a sunset like this.
It's absolutely
over a nice little body of water. And what's up, Whiskey Papi? I feel like we've been going this whole time, man. What's going on, man?
Oh man, just
how's life in the legal weed game down there at Haverhart down there in Belltown?
It's good, man. It's good. Just started getting busy and all that. So, but we're always busy. So, and other than that, just like we're just doing our thing, man. Cooking lots of stuff right now.
That's dope, man. Yeah, no, you guys are doing it. I came in there and grabbed some of that. What is that? Lifted. I was telling my boy today. I didn't really realize it. But this is the first time I've been out of weed for the last 3 years.
That's crazy. 3 years.
Last time I've been out of weed in 3 years.
That's true.
Yeah, man. I got Snobs kind of kicked me out, man.
Yeah.
They rezoned me.
Rezoned.
You did me a blessing though, cause I live in San Diego, and not that I don't love. I mean, look at this Seattle Edmonds sunset, man.
Right, it's beautiful right now.
If you haven't been to the Pacific Northwest, I tell people all the time, and just living. One of my things in the book is like I played for 5 years. What did I say? I played 5 seasons in 4 years, on 3 countries on 2 continents.
Crazy.
And what number 1 was? Who the fuck knows? But I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it. But no, just being all the places I've been and, being Greek and we were just talking about the Greek islands. You went your honeymoon over there and stuff, and seeing, some of the different places I've been. Like, if you haven't been to the Pacific Northwest, and especially Seattle, in the spring or summer, I mean, even the fall too, if you're catching that right little window, you get every season. Everybody that I've ever met traveling that's been to Seattle is like right when I stepped off the plane, I could just the air quality, right? Yeah. It's like it was like I was breathing oxygen again.
Yeah, coming from LA or from Southern California.
Yeah, breathing the smog and stuff. But yeah, man, no, it's beautiful up here, and it's I miss it sometimes. It sometimes. And then
you're back a lot though.
And then what should I say? And then November, December hits, and then I don't miss it so much again. Yeah, at least for a few months. But no, man, it's good to see you still around here.
I appreciate you having me on here, man.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, like I was saying out there, man. I think tapping on haters, as the kids would say. Yeah. Especially growing up, and we were talking about it. Especially people you grew up with. I think anybody in life, they kind of justify things for themselves. Mm-hmm. People make excuses, I think, a little too often. And I think people don't show enough gratitude for what they have. And, I think it sucks when people that you care about, kind of look at you and they start to slight your success and your hard work. Not to get into any relationships, but have you kind of felt that at all? In the last 5 years, as you guys have seen success and your company's kind of grown as it is?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think it's easy to throw stones, right?
I like that.
But I mean, it's something that, I mean, growing up, you kind of always are. I think for me, it's kind of thinking about like you're always looking for the next thing, right? And so I think that kind of manifests itself in, people's perceptions of you and what you do. And I mean, I honestly have just never really played into that too much and cared about it, right?
You're one of the good ones, you. You know what I mean? That's why I always tell people. I know me and my boys. I was talking about the first episode we did, and I was, and this is gonna be one of my favorite episodes too, because I got, I'm one of those people where I'm looking at the long game.
Yep.
I'm seeing a few steps ahead. And I know I'm gonna at one point look back on these podcasts and remember these first few that I did. Especially the first one I did with my boys that I grew up with. My boy yesterday, you today. I know Big Walt's always fun, but
yeah, it's awesome.
it's like I look back on these things. And I know these are going to be some of the more special ones to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can only interview so many people that I know, and it's always even though I do love meeting people and just being somebody who's been like I'm the guy who's out by himself. That's me. Yep. Growing up and being being in college, I had the fake ID since I was 17, so I had it all through college. And I was on,
pass.
when a lot of people were going to frat. I mean, I remember I'd ask you, it was like I was pretty sure that you weren't, but you weren't the frat guy. I wasn't a frat guy.
Right.
And a lot of our teammates were Fidel.
Yep.
Shout out Fidel. I was an honorary member. I gave him a lot of weed. But
they had to give you the honorary degree.
That's how they got their discount.
Right.
But no, I mean, they're cool guys, but I was never a big frat guy. Just kind of growing up fast. It's different, and I think you're one of those people where you didn't. I think a lot of the times too is like not nothing about frats or anything like that, but it's like I think a lot of people kind of need crowds to feel secure, and I've just never been one of those people. I know D's not one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not one of those people.
Yep. Well, I think that's kind of why we connected and we're friends, right? We both we had our own ideology about things and didn't really care what other people thought.
Yeah,
not in a negative way.
No, right.
Just that was just kind of how we did things.
Yeah, no, man, no. It's I always tell people, man, like it's fucking refreshing to meet people. Well, not meet, but see people again that you haven't seen in a long time, and they're still the same person. Maybe evolved a little bit, but
yeah.
But just to still be the same person, especially people that are successful, and especially people with families that, it's tough for me to see old friends that have bad habits still.
Yeah.
At some point you gotta grow up. I try. I mean, I still make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
Yep.
But touch on failure. That's one thing I'm pretty big on, man. Like I've always embraced failure. Even like as a kid, I hated to fail, right? And I was like, it was kind of my fear to fail as a kid. And then as I matured, especially through college and stuff, I learned how to embrace it a little bit more. But I think it's vital because you don't, you always learn more about when you fall down and crack your front tooth,
yep.
As opposed to getting patted on the back for something because you're just getting reassured at that point. But no, to kind of touch on failure, man, and obviously you've had failures, I'm sure with the company, and I'm sure you guys are still having little minor failures and stuff. So I'm gonna kind of touch on failure and how you should embrace failure and kind of how it motivates you.
Absolutely. From a failure standpoint, you kind of go through a lot of little micro failures along the way, right? And I think the biggest thing that we learned is that you just have to keep pushing through it. And I think for me recently and kind of at the spot that we're at is just sitting back and actually starting to write things down, right? And so, D, you're talking a lot about kind of the books you're writing and how you're putting your thoughts on paper. I think that for me has been really important lately is just basically think about the last 10, 11 years and just start writing down the major learnings because it kind of sounds like an old man thing to say, but realistically, we've learned so much through just those experiences of you know, what we've done that was successful and not successful. And so I think, you know, really not making the same mistake again. I mean, it's a really basic principle, but that's been key.
Yeah, absolutely. When's the last time you felt?
Oh man.
Every day.
Almost every day.
Yeah,
Daily. I mean, daily, right? And I think that's, for me, I've constantly been uncomfortable, right? And so I think that's kind of the personal barometer. When you're feeling really comfortable, you're not really pushing yourself. And so it's a polarizing way to live, though, man. Like, it's difficult to feel like, I mean, for me personally, like every day I get up and I need to put myself in an uncomfortable position to feel like I'm actually pushing forward. But that's a hard place. Like, that's also a difficult way to live.
It is, for sure.
But I mean, I think that's a good, for me, internal way to feel like, hey, I'm still pushing myself, learning new things. I'm just feeling uncomfortable.
I think I'm sure you've met all types of people too, even especially lately with the business and stuff. But yeah, I mean, just traveling overseas, man, I've just met so many different types of people, you know. And it's the one thing I always tell people is, you know, I definitely feel like I've kind of shed my ego. I still have some pride at times.
Yeah.
I think both can hurt you if you don't know how to manage them. I don't think either one is necessarily negative. As long as you know how to use it and funnel it, I guess. But I always tell people, man, that I've met people I disliked. I've met people I really didn't dislike. But I've never met somebody I couldn't get along with if I didn't have to.
Yep.
And I think deep in that, it's just being in control of you.
Yep.
You know, you can't let other people control you. You can't let other people affect you. And to me, you know, I've almost taken it overboard and kind of self-reflection where, you know, like I was touching on earlier, like I don't really talk to people. Like when I was living overseas from, you know, 22 to 27, I mean, the person I talked to most was my baby sister. And other than that, like friends would be like, shit, well, we ain't cool no more. Cause I'd come back after like 6 months and just never hit up nobody.
Yeah.
You know, and I was never big on Facebook, you know, and I was like, man, like, did you hit me?
Yeah.
If you didn't, then what the fuck you want me to say?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't not hit anybody back, you know.
Right.
But for me, it's just like I didn't. For me, I've always kind of embraced the moment and the situation that I've been. Like I've never been somewhere that I disliked. There's places I wouldn't go back to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I think it's. I think you have to have that kind of mentality where, you know, if you're not appreciating, you know, if you don't have that gratitude, and that's the one big thing I keep hearing on the internet nowadays. But it's like, you know, and that kind of resonated with me. It's like, I'm grateful for what I have, especially when you have kids, and you're gonna feel it too. Like, we were saying this the other day. Like, you know, having kids is great, but that's just tough for the first 6 to 9 months. Like,
That's what I'm hearing.
it's you know, it's like having a dog that shits itself. You know, it's like it's not that fun. Not that I don't love my kids, but you know, it's like once they get to that kind of little point
right
where, you know, when they can look at you and have an emotion, like, you know, because at some point they just don't, you know, it's just something that, you know, cries
To
and
clean up.
shits. You know, it's funny. I'm not trying to talk you out of this, but you know, it is one of those things where it does change you.
Yep.
And you know, they'll tell you, like, once you know you have one, and like they'll tell you it changes you, and like, but the first time you hold your kid, you know, and you realize it's just, like, you know, because I wanted a boy, had to have a boy, you know, and it's like, ended up having a boy, but it's like once I held him, like, you know, like I just remember thinking, like, it didn't matter if this was a boy or girl, like, this is crazy, you know. No, I think, and the other thing I tell people, like I was kind of touched on earlier, is, you know, if you are young and you are really thriving in your business, like, not to say if, you know, love doesn't find you or something or whatever, but, you know, stay focused and, you know, be okay with being single, be okay with being on your own, or if you do find someone that's gonna, you know, empower you for what you're doing.
You.
Don't find someone that's going against you, right? I mean, you know, they should be pushing you, and even if they, to the point that they hate you,
100%.
you know, and if they don't embrace what you're doing and they don't have that same vision with you, I'm not saying it can't work. You know, some people are different and they make it work, but it makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally experienced both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
So, my wife right now is just 100% behind me, and it's a collective goal that we have together, right? And
That's dope.
But, you know, I mean, experiencing the other side of it where you don't have that support, and it's kind of like, you know, your personal growth is actually a detriment, to that person, and they feel like it's not building into them, that's a tough place to be too. So
It is.
totally agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and the young people, don't be in relationships. You don't know what you're doing. Your high school girlfriend will not be your college girlfriend. Your college girlfriend or your college boyfriend won't be your after college boyfriend.
Yeah,
It'll
but
be
in
okay.
the moment, it seems like it'll never end.
Right? I don't know. We've all tripped.
Yeah.
We've all tripped.
We've all been there.
We've all tripped.
Instagram model will not be your girlfriend.
Yeah.
You don't want an Instagram model, I promise you. You don't want somebody that's fucking not that there's anything wrong with social media, but you don't want somebody who's living through social media.
100%.
And not to say that people do live through social media can't find it. They'll just most likely find it with somebody else that's living that life.
Yep.
Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the one thing for me, man. Is I don't judge, man. Like hold on, sorry. I judge because it's quicker. Stereotyping is a lot faster and it saves me a lot of time, and I just view it as efficient.
Efficiency.
But if you do take the time to take that second step and look beyond the cover, I think, like I said, there's nobody I can't be in the same room with, as long as you're not I don't really, you can be the coldest racist in the world, as long as you're not disrespecting me and saying some racist shit. I don't really have nothing. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to I'm not going to have a conversation with you, but I'll answer some questions.
Right.
And, I'll be cordial with you because I'm not gonna waste my energy with you, regardless of who you are or what you're talking about. And I think with somebody especially with somebody like you, and you're responsible for 400 people's livelihoods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I definitely learned, even just on a smaller scale, having 12 to 18 people in the cannabis company. It's like I'm responsible for their livelihoods, and at the end of the day, I want to make sure that when they go to the bank, that's just cashing,
right?
And that I'm building something for myself and in my future. So I mean, what's it been like to kind of stay focused, and kind of how are you dealing with the success now that you're here?
I think for me lately is just balance. Just trying to find more balance in my life. If you talk to a lot of people that invest so much time in building something from the ground up, they'll typically have to admit that it's all they do. And unfortunately it's kind of that talent and hard work thing, and there's people that are talented and smart that also work really hard, and those are the people that are doing it at the highest level. And so I think for me in my life right now, it's just trying to figure out how to deal with that through just having more balance. And something I'm constantly striving to find, because it's difficult, man. To be honest. I mean, if I look back, I don't really know what happened the last 12 years.
Right?
Like,
I
it's
hear
just,
you, bro. I kind of feel the same way, man. And,
You know?
kids will do that to you too. I promise.
I bet.
Yeah.
So it's not a unique thing to
Right.
build a company, but I think just constantly striving for that balance, and finding things that I actually enjoy myself that are just like hobbies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that I can actually do. So that's what I'm trying.
So
to
how often you in the office and all that? I mean, you're there every day.
Pretty much every day. Yeah. There are stints where I was out on the road a lot, and when we were trying to when you start anything, you actually have to figure out how to do it yourself first, right?
Yeah.
So like every little piece of it, from the selling to the account management to customer service, like you got to do it all yourself. So it's definitely changed over time, but I think if you grow a business and get to a place where you're really far away from your customer and you're sitting in an office, then you're in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing that I've been trying to preach lately to our team, is that no matter how big you get, you have to reduce that distance between you and the person that's using the thing that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that's why big companies fail, is they just start to overprocess. They have meetings, they're not agile, they're not nimble, and they're just farther away from the people that they're helping. So,
what's on the horizon for Snap?
What's on the horizon? So, we're keeping moving, continuing to grow the business, and I think really evolve, where we're at right now from a technology perspective. So, we realize that we just can't grow with people anymore. So just kind of working through what parts of what we do technology can take over, just so we can help more people. At the end of the day, we know that our growth won't be proportional to the number of people we add. And that's kind of the different part, right? It's because when you grow organically from the ground up, you can figure out how to teach one person to do a thing, and then you can just hire more people. But then you get to this plateau of growth where that doesn't work anymore. And so that's kind of what we're working through, is that automation of scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys do some awards too, man. I saw that on the IG, man. What kind of awards are you guys getting lately? Come on, don't be too shy. Let us know. Let us know how you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been cool to get some notoriety.
Satisfying, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that hard work. It's like, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's satisfying to be up there and get that recognition. Because
Yeah.
like the one time I experienced it overseas, being on the championship podium, I didn't think it'd mean too much, but then it kind of hits you and settles in that this was kind of worth something.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I know you guys got some Deloitte award. I mean, what kind of awards have you guys got?
Yeah, so we were, we got the Deloitte, Fast. I think it was a Fast 500. So we were the second fastest growing company in the Northwest, number 46 in the country, just year over year.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Revenue growth. So yeah, it's been quite the ride, and I think the biggest part is just kind of staying up there, right? Because you can grow fast for a few years, but sustaining that growth is always the hard part. So
yeah, no, I got a buddy who has a cannabis company, and even B-Rad and Habit Hard, but my boy, well, I won't say his name, but yeah, he's with Connected. It was top 2 or 3 cannabis company down in Cali, and
yeah.
It's like, and being in the San Francisco Bay Area is like the most competitive cannabis market in the world, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the way that they live. I mean, they've got outdoor farms, 30,000 foot indoor farms, 80,000 foot outdoor
crazy.
farms, like multiple distribution companies. Think about distributing to all of California, and it's like one thing he always tells me, man, is like. I'm always like, I don't remember what I asked him the last time we were talking, but he's just like, man, we can never take our foot off the pedal, because the second we let off that pedal, somebody else is coming past us, because it's just so competitive out there in that game with the rollout of legalization, and it's just basically first come first serve on all 100%. on these counties and stores, and because it's all limited and stuff. But it's the same thing, man. Like once you get to that point, you're kind of all in, like the chips. The chips are on the table at a certain point. I'm sure you guys are getting to that point now that you have some venture capital and stuff. Yeah. Where you can kind of breathe a little bit, I'm sure. But
yeah, well, I mean, what you're talking about, I think, is true in any industry where you get like this commoditized market where basically everybody's kind of doing they're providing the same service, right? And then you start to get kind of to the race to the bottom on price. And so I think, it happens in a lot of different industries, and it's definitely happening to us now, right? I mean, we kind of built this industry to help people to do this specific thing, and we've got 20, 30 copycats, and so figuring out how we actually can innovate to change the story about what we do is going to be really, really important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so go expand on that, because that actually intrigues me, man. So now that you guys have because you guys are basically the first of its kind, right?
Yep.
So now what has it been like now that the Chinese versions have come in?
Yeah, we call them the snap knockoffs. Yeah,
so I'm a flat tard, so they can be snap tards.
Snap tards, yeah. I think the same dilemma happens to a lot of businesses and industries where you build something and it becomes widespread so people can copy it. Yeah. None of these people are at any significant scale compared to what we're doing, but I would lie to say that it's not nipping at our ankles in specific markets, and so
I'm sure nobody welcomes competition in a sense.
Sure.
But I think the fact that all those knockoffs are happening, it validates what you guys were able to do.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And I think almost it's should be, obviously you're going to take it as competitive, because I know you and you have to embrace competition, and you have to embrace that challenge. But in a lot of ways, it's it shows kind of respect of what you guys were able to do, because not only did you just create jobs for 400 people, but really you're responsible for jobs on all those 20, 30 other copycats too. When you think about it.
That's a good way to put it, man.
That's your boss, bitches. Say hello.
I love that, man. I haven't thought about it that way.
And I think like for me, man, like there's a lot of business that I don't agree with the legal cannabis game. Mm-hmm. Even though I did it, and even though I love that a 21-year-old can go out and get a cannabis job, and I think that's amazing, and I like it, right? I don't want it to go away, but obviously I definitely would have rolled it out a different way and made it not about the getting high process, but the use of hemp and what its true intention is, right? Like we were kind of talking about earlier, is like people don't understand that hemp was our number one cash crop from the day we came to America to the day they banned it in I don't even know what year, the 30s, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's like you think about It can replace plastic. It can replace gasoline. It can replace paper. I mean, it can replace, the harvesting of trees. It can basically, you can turn it into concrete. You can build homes out of it. Hempcrete is fireproof.
Really?
Scientific fact.
That's crazy.
Hempcrete is fireproof. But we don't use it. We use
That'd be
concrete.
a helpful
Yeah.
property to have.
Yeah. And hemp plastic biodegrades.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we just saved the oceans. Crazy. Now we don't gotta ban straws.
Right.
You fucking assholes. Fucking assholes. I can't. That's the one thing that always cracks me up.
Post that so we can all create.
The straw ban, right? The straw, here's the straw ban. Not that I'm fucking for throwing straws in the ocean and hurting the turtles, but it's like, so you're telling me I just went and bought a fucking whatever, let's say a coffee at Starbucks.
Yep.
I went down to the beach. I took the fucking plastic cup. I put it in the garbage. I took the straw and I went and threw it in the ocean. That's how the shit happens? Why are we banning the straw? Let's ban dumb people. You know what I mean? Oh man. What's it like? Do you have to fire people?
I've had to fire people. Yeah.
I know you've had to, but
Yeah.
do you fire people anymore, or you got people to do it?
I have recently. Yeah.
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 What's it like firing? Not get back on a serious subject, but I don't. I mean, obviously I don't like firing people, but I've had to fire people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fired people for sure. I have no problem firing people because usually because with me I hired a lot of friends to start, so it was really easy to fire a friend.
Yeah.
Not hard for me. I'm not not all friends, but friends are in general. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Because they feel a certain type of validation or
Entitlement.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
But when you do have a friend that does work out, and like with Stefan, I mean that's fucking beautiful. And
It's incredible.
and when you're someone that hires those friends, that's what you're expecting.
Yeah.
You're expecting them to look at this like you and to sacrifice like you. And I'm not saying you have to sacrifice for me, but
Well, that's an incredible kind of thing to think through too, man. I mean, the times in which it's actually worked. Because most times it doesn't work out, right?
Right.
When you hire a friend, and
I don't know many successful people that recommend hiring friends.
no, not at all. But it's pretty cool. I mean, my co-founder and partner, kind of lifelong business partner, Stefan and I.
Stefan's a cool guy too, man.
He's
very
a special,
nice, very nice dude.
Yeah,
funny guy.
Yeah.
I like him. Fucking, how's Sam doing? Is Sam involved anymore, or what's Sam doing?
Sam works for Snap. He's one of our top reps.
Of course
he's in
he
Tacoma,
is.
Washington.
Fucking of course he is. I love it.
He was
I
one
love
of
Sam.
our first 5 guys.
Sam was my favorite people from college, man.
He's a great dude.
You too.
He's
Stefan.
having a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy or girl? Does he know yet?
I don't know if he's found out yet.
I'm praying for your boy.
Yeah.
Sam. All boys.
Yeah.
I got.
No, Sam's a man.
Yeah.
He's an incredible guy. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. I mean, and like I said, like everybody hires their friends and family with the highest expectations, and that's kind of the problem too. Is you do have higher expectations for those people, so a lot of times you have to look yourself in the mirror too.
Yep.
But yeah, man. No, this is.
Fire your friend.
Have I had to fire a friend?
Yeah.
Not directly, no. No. And it's just because we've only hired. I mean, I've actually co-founded with friends, right? But never really hired a ton of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Friend.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
Every day sometimes.
I got fired by a friend as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man.
Happens, yeah.
Like I said, I think it all kind of comes back to gratitude, man. Just be grateful for what you have.
That's impressive.
Yeah, we're still friends today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That says something.
No, I think successful people are sponges. There you go, Edmonds Ferry.
Train.
But yeah, no, I think most successful people are sponges in some sense, right? I mean, you should never stop self-acknowledging. You can always get better. There's always areas of improvement. And that's one thing that's one reason I've been able to, not need people around me necessarily, and kind of be a loner at times and travel and have to be that kind of wandering, traveling hippie at some point. Because I did soak knowledge and experience in from people. And like I said, there's nobody I can't get along with if I don't have to. And if I don't, I'll slap you. And hopefully you're not an MMA fighter and whoop my ass. And if you do, fuck, back to the gym. I gotta get my game up.
You just learned a lesson.
And but yeah, no, it's a different time to be alive too, man. We were talking about this the other day, like just the age of the information age, man. Like it's such a double-edged sword, right? Because you're giving up your privacy,
Yep.
but you're gaining information. And to me, this is the most beautiful time to be alive, because you can literally go online on the World Wide Web and figure just about anything out, you know, when you really think about it. There's nothing you can't learn if you don't dedicate the time.
Yep.
And obviously experience plays a factor into that, and eventually you got to go out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a beautiful time to be alive, man. You know, like what you guys are doing. I know when we were talking to Coachella about that, you know, we were having some fun, but I know you were telling me there was something about the kind of the back end of the I don't know, was it algorithm or some type of information that you guys keep kind of sets you guys apart.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, what we just learned is by doing it at scale, you just amass a ton of data, right? And
right.
So,
do you guys sell any of the data, or
no way? No,
yeah.
Absolutely not. So
there you go. Yeah.
The only thing we leverage,
you don't Facebook it.
No,
All right.
we're not zucking it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So I mean, we really leverage it just to raise more money.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's awesome.
How do we tell the right story? How do we send the right reminder at the right time, with the right message, and really just leverage that voice of that participant. So, yeah, it's been fun.
But yeah, man. So kind of how does the technology play a role in your guys' everyday stuff? And I mean, how much you guys apply to marketing and advertising? I know a lot of it. We were kind of talking earlier.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot in your reps and stuff, which I think is dope.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, we figured out early on, which we were talking about as far as how do you grow something organically. And so we were talking a lot about, we had the decision early on when we were having success to say, hey, look, you know, we're going to expand this reach and cast the net across the entire country, or we're just going to be hyper focused in specific markets and really leverage those network effects. And so I mean, you know, whether it's PayPal or Facebook, you know, releasing to geographic regions that are all really close and being exclusive. And I think there's really something to that, and something that we've experienced. And I mean, for us, you know, we looked at NFL cities, right? So major sports markets initially. So, you know, you're looking in Los Angeles, California is huge, Texas, Florida. And we actually really stayed hyper focused in those regions, just so that we could really leverage that organic growth and that word of mouth.
So how do you get people out there? I mean, what's your guys' kind of platform? I know you guys have like 180 something in office.
Yep.
So how is the kind of what is the work schedule of those people that are out of office for you guys?
Yeah. So we have campaign directors that are, you know, all across the entire United States. Their job is to essentially take each of those groups through the fundraising process. And really, essentially, if you think about it, if you're ever, I mean, you were a coach, right? Mm-hmm. The last thing you want to do is fundraise, right? You want to do it. Right. You want to mentor. You want to help kids. And so that's what those campaign directors do, is take that, you know, give that time back to coaches by just taking them through the technology, and so that they can actually have that time to mentor and coach. And so primarily that's what they do, is they go and run campaigns all throughout the country.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been fun, man. We'll be kind of wrapping up here in the next 10 or so minutes. But glad you came on here, E, man. I mean, no, like I said, man, I think it's, you know, I think this podcast wave is crazy in itself. Because, I mean, I'm not a big podcast guy personally. I mean, I've listened to, like, Joe Rogan. And
Joe Rogan's funny.
Yeah.
I listened to his stand-up the other day.
He's kind of the you of your industry, right? Where he was kind of that first one to, you know, to make this big. And, you know, so shout out Joe Rogan.
Have you heard Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson?
No. Yes, I have heard a couple. Yeah. Oh, you had.
Check that one out.
I've never even seen a full episode, but I've seen like some. I've seen like a compilation. I've seen a compilation clip. Look up the compilation clip first. I mean, you gotta love Mike Tyson. Okay. How do you not love Mike Tyson?
Iron Mike.
Mike Tyson, bro. I met him in Vegas at a signing one time.
Did you?
He was. I didn't like do the signing, but he was walking. He was walking into the signing. I was walking by.
Yeah.
And we shook hands and shit. And Mike, Iron Mike, bro.
Iron Mike.
You see the video of him? There's a video of him just recently where he like does like this little combo and like little thing in front of these people, and it's just like, you know, like you can hear the wisp of the air when he's fucking swinging in this video. And how old
he's
is
still
he?
fast.
Like,
yeah,
bro. 50, right?
He's got to be 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Mike. Who
Do not run into
number
that
one
kind of
heavyweight
talent.
of all time in their prime?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It is.
I'm taking Iron Mike
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
It's
me
tough
too.
for me. It's tough for me to go against Muhammad Ali, but I gotta go Iron in their prime. If we're talking about just simply in their prime,
Yeah.
I'm not saying career. I'm just saying here's what I'll say: at their best moment in their career, that best night of their career, I think
Who?
Iron Mike just
Yeah. Well, it's hard.
he's gonna eat your children. This man's gonna win.
All crazy.
Like, come on, bro.
He's got a little bit of crazy.
But I love
just the right amount.
yeah. But even Iron Mike. I mean, other than Muhammad Ali, Iron Mike's number 2 for trash talk. I mean, just witty out there. I mean, he said some crazy shit.
Some real crazy
But,
shit.
I mean, he was crazy.
But I know we were talking about this a little earlier. I mean, so you still follow some college football, and that's kind of the same.
Oh, yeah.
That's really kind of the only stuff I watch, man. But
Yep.
kind of how you staying in touch with the sports world, man? Other than college football.
I mean, college football is it for me. Yeah. Saturdays, get up, game day. See the East Coast games and then go all the way through the prime time.
Yeah, man.
I love it. Yeah.
There's a different like raw energy about college
100%.
game, man. Even going to the games, like.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with the students, but I like to feel their energy.
Yeah. We got the tailgate, you got the band,
Yeah.
right? There's just something about that, right?
Yeah, no, it's fun, man.
Yeah. Super fun.
Who's your top 3? I feel like.
For college football?
Yeah.
Washington Huskies,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
UW only.
He's
Got to say that for political reasons.
For sure,
Also,
yeah.
I'm sure it's real. I'm not saying a line, but
no, it's real. Yeah.
you cannot be operating 400 people in Seattle and not be a Huskies and
Oh,
Seahawks fan, Mariners fan.
So I'm not, but I'm
It's
not
a sports city.
Yeah, I'm not a Cougar hater though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I'll root for the Cougs as long as they're not playing the Huskies.
Right.
I got you. Still Washington.
Yeah.
I think I root for West Coast or East Coast in general.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't really care, I'm rooting for the closer team.
Yeah.
It's just how I do it. I don't know
Right.
how close. Which one's closer?
Yeah.
But
Who's your team, D?
I feel like
Your college team.
Miami Hurricanes. I mean,
you're
Miami
Hurricane
Hurricanes.
fans. Yeah,
man.
I remember
You,
that.
baby. Yeah, that's
The
why.
U.
That's why when Big Walt was in here, he
Yeah.
was Florida State. And no, but like I told him, man, I remember when UW beat Miami at Miami, and it was like the first time it broke the streak, right?
Yep.
And then that Christmas, there was a Christmas or birthday or something. My grandpa, my dad's dad, brought me the gift was a UW sweatshirt, and I just kind of like tossed it away. Fuck this.
Yeah.
And
Burn that.
and at coming from the long line of competitive assholes that I come from, he was storming out. Him and my dad got into it about you can't throw my son and shit like that, like because he was mad at me. Like my dad was mad at me for like throwing the shit away. Like I was like, all right, and I was like I remember like coming out the door and saying, sorry, Grandpa. Like, well, fuck it, whatever. Like, but that was my UW Miami memory. But no, of course, I mean UW's my number 2. I mean, I'm not there. You don't really have much reason to be a fucking Miami Hurricanes fan
These
anymore.
days. Yeah.
Other than I'm not a bandwagon, so I got
stick
stick
with
by
it.
him. I'm loyal, but
For sure.
yeah, no, it's crazy to see the evolution of sports, man.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, now you can bet on it anywhere and
Yeah.
go bet your car note and get divorced because of it. But you a better at all?
Not really.
No, I'm not a big gambler.
I suck. I mean, I typically lose, so
right.
I've learned that.
I've just like the few times I have gambled growing up, I just never won. So
Exactly.
Like, well, I'd rather bet on myself if I can do it.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's the other thing too, man. Take it back to a business sense. You have to bet on yourself. That's one way we've talked about on the podcast too. Is like for me, it's like I think you should think about a plan B, but you shouldn't put any energy into plan B because if you're going at something, you got to put 100 into it.
100%.
And if you're really making a backup plan, you're just taking away from your potential energy for what you're doing.
Yep.
So I mean, what's kind of where do you see Snap Rays in 5-10 years? Like what have you really thought about? I mean, how far out are you thinking right now for your company? I guess in a sense, just in a daily sense.
On a daily sense, we're about 18 to 24 months out, and so there's actually what we're working on right now is looking at how we actually bring everything that we're doing on the university side, right? So what I didn't talk a lot about is, I mean, we broke the records for one-day giving for Notre Dame, Columbia.
Sweet.
Raised $24 million in 24 hours for them
Say
on
what?
our platform.
All right. That's dope.
And we've got a couple hundred institutions that are using the platform, and so that's really been the proving ground for what we can actually bring down for the group-based space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's going to be a key part of how we actually change this commoditized conversation of like, hey, we do what Snap does, but for a little bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think competitively, that's what we're working on, is how we actually translate that down.
Yeah, you know, and not to say, you know, in other fields somebody can't catch up. But I mean, when you're the first one to break through, I mean, you're always going to be one step ahead.
Yep.
You know, and it's got to be that drive to make sure that stays that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, man, that's crazy, man. No, it's dope, man. I mean, like I said, we hadn't seen each other in a while too, man. Just to randomly connect at Coachella like that,
awesome.
and like we were talking about earlier, man. But that was probably that was one of my favorite memories. I mean, I didn't go to too many. I only went to the one day. But you know, that was my favorite part of the trip and that whole
man.
experience, man.
Yeah.
You know, just sitting there and catching up and seeing that E's still E, even though it goes by Ed.
Yeah.
And no, man, like I said, man. I mean, yeah, you should really think about that, man. I mean, not only because I did, you know, doing that and being a business owner, it's like I only had 12 to 18 people. You know, you had 400. You have 400 people that you're creating their livelihoods, and like I said, that you created a whole industry basically in a sense. You guys' whole team, man, and you guys are responsible for those, man. You guys should be congratulated.
Appreciate that, man.
Don't get content. Keep
100%.
Keep that gas pedal down. Keep that throat on the neck, man. And keep going, man. But no, I'm glad we got to do this, man.
Thanks,
where can they find you on what's your guys' website? Social media. How can people find Snap Raise and come check you guys out, man?
Yeah, just go to snapraise.com, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, man. Beautiful. Whiskey Papi, what you got for us? You gonna drop a gem for us today? You got drop an outro gem.
Come check.
You got some deep knowledge to share with us.
Deep knowledge.
Don't piss in alleys in front of the cops and flip them off. This guy got a pissing in public ticket.
Oh man,
Flipped off the cop behind him.
I didn't know it was the cops though. That's the thing. Like I just saw like lights flashing behind me.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know the cops.
Oh yeah. No. Oh, and
I love that.
I definitely got Max fine on that one. Like,
yeah, beautiful things,
I was
man.
brutally honest though, and like you can't be bad
at that point you're there.
I mean,
You're in.
You're there. No.
I mean, for being brutally honest, I didn't like some of the things I was saying.
Yeah.
So
we go from starting an industry to pissing in the public. Pissing in an alley, man. No, only on the Urban Hippie podcast, you know. No, E, man. Thank.
hold it.
Yeah, no.
Hold it.
Yeah, dude. Well, just don't piss around cops. But no, E, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. No, we'll have to get Lance on here too, man.
That'll be. Yeah.
No, we'll have to get you back, man. And no, again, go check out Snap Raise, man. You guys are doing some dope shit, and as we always say, it's for the kids, man.
That's right.
So no, again, man, thank you for doing this. Whiskey Papi, as always, we got to enjoy some sunset, man. It's right out of here.
All right.
And until next time, E.
Thank you, my brother.
My bro.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.